Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening for our first assembly of the authors of the Flash Fiction Writing Challenges. It's nice to actually put names to faces. I've met some of you before, but not others, and thank you all for being here. So what I thought I'd do to start with was just go through a quick history of what the challenges are all about and the Facebook group, and then we'll move on to introducing the different members. So the writing challenges started in April 2016 after the first Hollenbach competition ran. So that closed in 2014 and Mike Scott Thompson won it that year. And then he approached me with a blog post about one of the stories he'd written for Fiction Desk, I think it was, another publication, and I published it on the site. And part of the post talked about the rules of writing, or guidelines, as he liked to call them. And one of them was don't use too many adverbs. And as part of his post, Mike had put a little challenge in there saying, if you fancy having a go, why not write a piece of flash fiction up to 100 words with as many adverbs as you can stuffed into it. And I thought that was a nice idea. So we added a little note to it saying, if we get 20 submissions, we'll open it up as a challenge and produce a book. So that's where the original idea came from. I wasn't really expecting it to go anywhere. And within a very short space of time, we had 20 submissions, and then we had to open up a challenge. And within a few months, we had our first book. So it escalated really quickly because, as it turns out, people like to have fun with words, especially writers. So everyone got on board with that. So since April 2016, via the Adverb Challenge, which is actually called Mike's Not Entirely Serious Wantonly Rule-Breaking Adverb Writing Challenge, we've published 627 stories online, 500 in 5 anthologies, sold 640 books, and all of that goes to support First Story, which is a lovely UK charity that does an awful lot for writers, particularly young writers. Not long after the Adverb Challenge had launched, Leslie got in touch with me about a nonsense writing challenge, which is called Leslie's Nifty Nibbling Nonsense Narrative Challenge, which we launched in November 2016. Do you want to just quickly chat about that, Leslie? Just what inspired that one?
I've unmuted myself, I take it that's correct. Yeah, what happened was that I like writing humour, and I saw Chris's to Hollenbach competition, which is a humour writing competition. So I went on his website and I found the challenges. So I can't remember how many were going at the time, but I actually wrote the pieces for the challenges, and obviously they went on his website. And I thought, nonsense challenge, why not write nonsense stories? So I kind of put the idea to Chris. And I expected him to say, oh, I'll think about it. And he says, yeah, I'm up for that. Are you going to do it with me? I thought, oh, right. So that was how that was born. And then to continue a little bit from there, I'm in every challenge book that's actually been produced up to now. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice if we all could get together? And I suggested to Chris that, how can we get all these writers to meet each other? And that's how the writing group, the Facebook group, was born. Chris set it up. And that was 8 years ago. And we've now got, I think, about 3,000 members, although obviously they don't all take part at once. But so I feel quite proud, really. And we wouldn't be here tonight if I hadn't have come up with that idea. And we wouldn't be here.
It's all Leslie's fault.
Well, you started it, Chris, and I kind of backed it.
I'm not taking the blame. It's you and Mike.
I'll take the blame with Mike.
So Leslie's story was about nonsense, and what we were kind of highlighting was the that you needed a coherent plot even with something that's nonsensical and humorous. So that was the kind of idea behind the challenge. We've published 341 stories online and 300 stories in 3 anthologies through that challenge and sold 390 books. It supports the Daisy Garland, which is a charity that helps children with epilepsy, which is a lovely charity. Every time you raise £1,000 for them, they can buy this piece of kit that they give to a family and it saves a child's life because it monitors them at night. It's you know where the money's going. It's a really nice charity.
Yeah.
And you know the lady that is involved with it, don't
Yes.
you?
Yeah. That was. I've moved house since then, but that was a lady, an English lady in France who was a neighbour of mine, and her daughter, no, sorry, her niece died of epilepsy, and the family set up a charity in her name. I think she was about 8 when she died. And Chris actually came to stay with us at the time. He's actually met Catherine Watson. He's actually met her. So that, yeah, that's how that particular charity got supported by me, because I knew the lady. But unfortunately, I've lost touch with her since then because we've moved. But
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah,
yeah,
she was really nice. Well, is.
yeah,
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 and Daisy Garland is her niece, which is what the charity's named after.
yes, yeah.
And actually, we've raised more money for that charity than any of the others, and that's because Captain Beanie is in one of the anthologies published by the Nonsense Challenge. Now, Captain Beanie, who was originally called Barry, is a bit of a character, to say the least. He changed his name by deed poll to Captain Beanie, so legally that's his name, Captain Beanie. And he did that after setting a world record for sitting in a bath of baked beans for the longest. So he's in the Guinness Book of World Records for that. And he does tons and tons of charity work. And he's been on the telly. He stands as an independent MP, never gets elected, but he stands for
I
it.
didn't know that.
And and he has all these tattoos on his head. So his entire hairline is a tattoo of baked beans. And he was selling for charities the baked beans so you could get your initials put in them. For he had one left on the front of his head, and he auctioned it off uh, for the charity, and he got the logo of the charity tattooed in this baked bean, and raised 2.5 grand while he was doing it. So that all went to the charity. I mean, it's a lovely story that you can find out more about it on. I could talk about it all day long, but we'll move on, or we'll be here all night. After the Nonsense Challenge was launched, Alan Ashley got in touch with me. I met him in Bristol and he asked me to do a sensory writing challenge, which focuses on the overuse of sensory writing, purple prose. So Alan's Sensory Overload Challenge launched in March 2017. We've published 416 stories via that one, 300 of which are in 3 anthologies, sold 406 books, and that supports the National Literacy Trust. That one is still open, and hopefully we should be publishing a new book via that one in probably next year, the rate the submissions are going. Then we did the 81 words challenge, and that launched a month after the sensory one. That happened because I unexpectedly acquired a website. It was run by a chap called Adam Rubenstein, and it was just called 81 words, and there were thousands of people had got involved with it and just wrote 81 word stories. And he said, look, it's too much work. I don't want it. Do you? I was like, well, I don't want it in its current format, but I'll take it on and run it as a challenge. Give me your email list and people can get involved in it if they want to. So we did it that way. And it took 7 years, but eventually we got 1,000 submissions from 1,000 authors. I'm sure most of you are in that book, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if you all are, possibly. So we published that one. And it's an unofficial world record for the most contributing authors published in an anthology. It's unofficial because Guinness wouldn't let me have the world record. If you want to know that story, which is quite long, it's in the introduction of the book, and I share all the back and forth I had with Guinness about it. So yeah, we've published 1,000 people via that one. Well, actually 1,004, I think it is, because there were a couple of writing duos in there. Sold 967 books, and that supports the Artbound Foundation, which does loads of really cool stuff for authors from disadvantaged backgrounds. Then I launched the Cliche Challenge. Obviously, that was to get cliches out of people's systems so they could overuse them to their heart's content. See what I did there? Subtle. And we published a couple of books with that one. That one supports Book Aid International. Then Ville got in touch with me about doing a preposterously placed prepositions challenge where you have to end every sentence with a preposition, which is really good fun. And we only published one book through that one. It caused that was the least popular one, but I think it's because it was actually quite difficult. It's not easy to finish every sentence with a preposition and still have the story make sense. But we supported Caring in Bristol with that one and published a book through it, so that was lovely. Then we launched the group, and that was Leslie's idea, which you kind of already mentioned. Do you want to talk about that at all, Leslie? Because it was Leslie's idea. She got in touch with me about it and said, can we start getting everyone in touch? And that's when the Facebook group was born.
Yeah, I think I more or less said
Mm.
that earlier on. I just thought it would be really nice to get everybody in touch.
Mm.
And that's how it started, really.
Yeah,
I can't remember how Michael became him. I think you asked me to choose a story for your teaching
that's right. Yeah.
course, and I wanted one of Michael's stories, and I actually then got to know Michael, and then Michael became involved in the group as well, in the Facebook group. So it's
Yeah.
sort of, the three of us started the administration, and then as time's gone on, we've pulled in one or two more admin people.
Yeah, I mean, Michael does the lion's share of the kind of organising on a
Yeah,
monthly
he does,
basis. I mean, he's unstoppable and does loads of great work, which is where it
yeah,
all comes from.
he
So
does, yeah.
big shout out to Michael because he's a total legend. Yeah, and we've totally got 2,000, over 2,600 is what it said on Facebook when I looked today. And that was launched in May 2018. After that, we did a news challenge where we used news stories to spark your imagination. And that was called the Trump This News Writing Challenge, which was when a certain orange goblin got in for the first time. Unfortunately, he got back in again. But hey, we're not going to talk about that today. We published one book through that one, and that supports Book Trust International. And after that, was it the final? Yeah, almost final one is a Young Writers Challenge. And that's actually really cool. I launched that in 2021 after a teacher got in touch with me and they said, look, we want to encourage our students in creative writing. Can you help us, please? And I was like, well, I could put a page on the website where they can have stuff published if you want to. And he was like, we need you to dangle a carrot. Can you do a certificate every time something's published? And I was like, yeah, okay, why not? We'll do that. And since then, that challenge has been running, and I published a couple of stories today through that one. 484 stories published, so 484 certificates delivered to kids all over the world. And it's amazing what some of them come up with. Honestly, you should read some of it. I might actually read you one later because I got a really, really good one today. So that continues to support young writers. It doesn't support a charity, that one, because we've never published any books through it. It would just be too much work, but we did the certificate thing on that one instead. And the last book we did was Staff Definitions, which I'm sure some of you, if not all of, maybe most of you are in that one as well. So you know about that one. It's a dictionary where we've taken everyday words, some made up words and place names and things like that and come up with silly there it is. Silly. Oh, that's the proof copy, Leslie.
Yes, it is. Yeah, but I never actually purchased a copy.
You've got you've got the original one with all the mistakes in.
Yeah, well, I didn't like that one.
It's rare, very rare. There's only two of those in existence. Yeah, so we've raised nearly 100 quid for Sheffield Church's Council of Community Care. They do a pen pal scheme with old people, and it's raised some money for that. So overall, the writing challenges, through those 9 challenges we've mentioned, to date we've published 5,065 stories by 2,310 authors on my website, published 4,100 stories by 1,594 authors in 17 anthologies, sold 2,956 books and raised a total of 6,785 quid for charity. So it's, you know, from one silly idea in a blog post, it's kind of ballooned into that, which is really, really lovely.
You've just received an email, Chris.
Oh, have I? From who?
No, a fictitious one.
Oh, a fictitious. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, so that's where the challenges are today. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go around. We'll do it in the order I've got it on my screen. I'll ask people to unmute and just share a little bit who they are, where they're based, what kind of writing they do, and how they found the Facebook group. So, well, start with you, Leslie, because You're unmuted if that's okay.
Yeah, okay. I think I started writing in about 2007, and I was working for a landscape architect. And one day I was talking to the girl next to me and sort of waffling on about the fact I've always wanted to write. And she was a bit of a strange lady, and she turned around and snapped at me and she says, well, stop talking about it and get on with it. And she stung me, but she made me do it. And I'm glad she told me to do that. And as luck would have it, somebody had actually started a writing group within walking distance of where I lived at round about the very same time. It was in Oldham in Lancashire. So I joined the group and started from there, really. I'm in one or two different anthologies, nothing to do with Chris's challenges, two with that particular writing group and then others that are found online. I started writing a novel, which I'm halfway through, but unfortunately at the moment I've started doing other things and it's got pushed to one side, but I'm working my way to get him back on with that. And that's about it really for me.
Lovely. Thank you, Leslie. Andrew next, if that's okay, please.
Am I unmuted? Yeah. I got in, well, I spent my career until I retired 20 years ago as a university professor and research biochemist studying viruses, and retired, as I say, 21 years ago, and wanted to do something else with the remaining life and years and energy that I had. So I've been farming since then in Virginia, Eastern Virginia, raising Black Angus cattle. As David Silver, who I wish was here, had said, why can't Black Angus raise his own cattle? But best not revisit that. I got into, so during my scientific career, I'd written a lot of scientific papers, which is very, very different from the sort of writing that I've been doing since about 2019. My wife found an advertisement for a writing course at a local community college and said, why didn't I apply to that? So I did, and I took the course, and it was very exciting. It was not unlike this, a group of about a dozen people led by a published novelist, Sally Hollenberger, and we got to write things according to prompts from the group and then read them into the group and critique each other's writing, which really turned me on. So since about 2019, I've been writing flash fiction. I discovered Chris's website fairly early on. And in fact, Chris, I think I first contacted you with a suggestion for a challenge that you might want to consider, which was my palindrome challenge. And you said, no, I didn't want to do that. You were too busy. You were doing other things and it was too complicated anyway. But why didn't I go to the Facebook group, which I didn't know about at that time? So I joined the Facebook group, and in fact, the first challenge that I put out was to write a palindrome story, where the words are palindromic. The letters, of course, do not have to be palindromic. And Glo Curl won it hands down. She produced a remarkably coherent story, quite long, which read exactly the same forwards as backwards. So that got me into the Facebook group, and I have tremendously enjoyed being a part of this group. Continue to. Fairly early on, Michael asked me if I wanted to be an admin, and I knew that that would, for me, I'm afraid, take a lot of the fun out of it. So I turned that down, and I've been freeloading on everyone else's hard work since then. So I feel guilty about it, but there you are. What else? That's about it, I think. I live in Eastern Virginia, 60 miles south of Washington, which I try to ignore as far as possible. And I hope to continue as part of this group for the next 20 years.
That's lovely. Thank you, Andrew. I know you've been one of the most prolific members over time. So yeah, that's wonderful. I actually remember you suggesting that challenge, and I think you contacted me at the point where I was like, I was snowed under with challenges. We were putting like 4 books out a year, and it had snowballed too much for me to manage. So I tried to ramp it back a bit at that point. But
I
it's
think
good
it
you
worked.
got to.
I think
Sorry.
it worked much better as a challenge for the Facebook group, because I can't imagine there are 100 people out there who would enjoy writing palindromic stories, because it is very difficult.
I'm sure there'll be a few people that would like to have a go. But well, yeah, it reminded me of the preposition challenge, but times 10. I think people would have struggled with it. Yeah, for sure. I'm glad you got to run it in the group in the end, though. That's wonderful. Brilliant. Right. Kelly, would you like to go next, please?
Yes, thank you. I'm from San Diego, California. I've lived here since '93. I remember when I got tired of all the groups, the writing groups I belonged to. They seemed that nothing stood out from of any of them. So I kept, looking for something specifically for flash fiction. Then this group came up and had this grand title, authors of the flash fiction writing. I'm thinking, well, this is special, something special about this one. So I joined, and lo and behold, I feel like this is my family. I come in here, I come in the group, and I mean, I don't know. It's just the atmosphere of it is so wonderfully welcoming. Oh God. I have major depressive disorder. It makes life extremely difficult, and for the average casual onlooker, you think, what a lazy bum, doesn't want to do anything. She's a lazy bum. No, people. It's paralyzing. It's paralyzing. So this group helps get my brain going, and I love writing stupid satirical crap. Okay, I just wrote a story that I thought was going to be a flash piece. It turned out to be 4,000 words long, people. And I was like, please end, please end, please end. Do you know how stories write themselves, right? You're like, God, when is this story going to end? Finally, it ended. Got an ending to it. And I wish I could read it here. But the thing is, you guys are you're a horrible influence on me. I'll tell you why, okay? Because I've written many stories that are based in the UK. Have I ever been to the UK? No, but you tell me what that has to do with anything, okay? No, I mean, and people think, and then I even get people in the UK saying, what do you think you're writing about in the UK? You know nothing about the UK. So I'm thinking, shut up. I'm a writer. Obviously, you're not a writer. But anyway, and then I think even Christine, you even mentioned to me in one of your groups that you said that in a lot of people who are in the UK are writing about things in the US, stories that are based in the US. So you said it's a thing. So that made me feel a little better. But I just want to thank you guys for being here for me. And then to add to my crap that I'm dealing with, I need both hips replaced. So I'm on this couch, and I feel like I'm living on this couch. It even hurts to get from my chair to, oh my God, it's horrible. So this helps get me out of my insanity. But and I don't know about you guys, but I love satire to death. And if y'all know, or if you've all heard that comedy comes from pain, comedy comes from real pain. And I had a very abusive, neglectful childhood, to the point where my my first language was not English, even though I was born and raised in an English-speaking family. So I grew up, I started writing very satirical stuff to get me out of the hell that's going on inside my head. And so that's one reason I love writing these silly things. It lifts me up, and I joke a lot when I talk. And when I joke, that the bad thing about my joking a lot is people think, she probably doesn't have a brain in her head. Honey, I got brains to spare people. Honey, I'm on the spectrum. People on the spectrum are more intelligent than you could ever give any of us credit for, people. If you don't know about the spectrum, read my other writings where I'm lambasting the neurotypical community for. I'm not kidding. Anyway, so yeah, I sound like an idiot sometimes when I talk, because when you're on the spectrum, your mind is so active, incredibly active. My God, I'm being deluged with words, thoughts, images, and ideas, and I can be in the middle of a sentence talking, and all these things are fighting for attention in my head, that what I'm speaking about a lot of times flies out, just literally flies out, and then that's where people think, what is she, nuts? She doesn't remember what she's speaking about? Yeah. Anyway, so this group helps keep my insanity at bay. And I want to thank you all so much, and for what this group has, what you do for all of us, and especially me. It's wonderful. I love it. Thank you so
Kelly.
much. That can go on forever, if I may be allowed, Christopher.
I'm afraid not. Not this evening.
Okay.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm glad it helps you in that way. That's really lovely to hear. Really is. Liz, would you like to go next, please?
Yes, well, I've been writing, well, I don't know, since I was born, basically. But you can hear I'm from South Wales. But I didn't start writing properly until I went to live in Birmingham, and I was teaching there, and I was in a writing group. And then I had to take early retirement for health reasons, and we moved down to Cornwall. And my writing group there was a little bit stolid, I would say, a bit stultifying. So having been writing poetry and short stories and novels and a couple of plays, Flash suddenly came up. And then, of course, then I found your website, and I did the adverbially challenged one, and it started from there, Chris. I mean, it was brilliant because I loved it, because I did the 81 words as well, and I think I tried them all, but I didn't necessarily send them in to you, and that's the joy of it, isn't it? That you can just try everything. And of course, then when the the Facebook group started, then that was joyous, because then I could indulge my love of wordplay, any time I wanted to. So that was brilliant. And then, of course, I moved to Scotland, and as soon as I moved to Scotland, boom, my story wins one of your competitions. So wow, so yeah, so brilliant. Thank you. And again, thanks to everybody in the group, because when they put up the thing saying, like Glow Curl saying, oh, my story's been accepted on this, I said, oh, that's yet another place, which hence why my story at Spillwords and things like that. But you gave me the validation. I think that's what it is. It was the validation that I am a writer and that my words count. So diolch yn fawr. Thank you very much. Meraz, you get it from both Celtic languages.
Thank you, Liz. That's lovely. Sarah's just joined us. Hi, Sarah. I'll ask you to unmute in a bit, if that's okay. Right, next we'll go to Christine, please. Do you want me to ask you?
I think I'm unmuted.
You are.
I think I am. Hi, everybody. Well, the sentiments that have been expressed, really, I feel myself like Liz. I was a teacher and always a writer, even as a child in the infants and junior schools. My only regret probably is that I left it so very late to write a little more seriously than I'm doing now. I am writing a novel about a West Virginian relative, Welsh relative, who went over there as a very poor man and made a tremendous amount of money in the anthracite coal mines, which was the story for many people. So I'm writing that, and I'm writing another novel about my time in special educational needs, where I taught behaviour problem children, one or two of whom, I have to say, were probably far more intelligent than me, but their behaviour problems impacted on their lives. So I am in the process of writing that as well. And I would like to say at this point, as I tell many, many people, when I started teaching those children, my vocabulary increased immensely. I learned words from those kids that I never knew existed. So big thank you for that. Yeah, so I just love being a part of the group. I love being able to take part in the challenges. It's just rewarding and fun at the same time. Like Liz, are you South Walian, Liz? I'm not sure. I'm a South Walian. I left the Ronda Valley for the Almanzora Valley in southern Spain, in Andalusia. Both valleys very beautiful in very different ways. I like to go back, but I like coming back here as well after a visit. So like Liz, I can just say thank you, everybody, for being there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. That's lovely. Right, Kieran, would you like to go next, please?
Okay. I was just soaking in all the lovely things that I've been hearing from everybody. I'm Kiran, and I'm from India and a little bit from Malaysia. But I've lived outside India for about 20 years now, mostly in the Middle East, in what they call the Golden Sands of Arabia. So Oman and Qatar. I'm an editor pretending to be a teacher. And believe me, that's an accurate description of because I've just got to take the sort of jobs that I get in the Middle East just to remain in the region. I'm trained as a textbook writer and editor. I spent a number of years with Macmillan back home in India, but those jobs are few and far between. So I've kind of moved to language. I still do a lot of materials writing for English courses. Creative writing. I think I've been doing some sort of writing or the other since my pre-teens. Even before acne and crushes on English teachers and that sort of thing started happening. Thank God for small mercies. Nothing has survived from that part of my writing days. It's all gone. I didn't have computers. It's on notebook paper and all that. Nothing has survived. Thank God. And when people ask me, when did you do your first serious creative writing? Well, I immediately say, in all the CVs that I sent out in the first 3 years of my career, I haven't done anything more creative than that because I had absolutely no experience. And it was like a page and a half of beautiful lies. I have to say that's where my serious creative writing starts. But yeah, in a more conventional sense, I've tried my hand because I studied English literature for 7 years, a bachelor's and 2 masters in India, because I kind of thought at that point that I would end up teaching literature But then I moved into linguistics and social science and all that. That didn't happen. But there's so much literature in my background. That's life began with literature. At the academic and in the classroom sense, that I've tried poetry, I've tried plays, I've tried behind the short stories. There are these seeds of novels that have been gestating, or that have been just sitting there for a long time. All kinds of poetry, like from sonnets to I can't even remember the names of the forms. There is something that is exactly 19 lines. I forget what it's called now, but I've done it. But I think finally, at some point, I'm so glad I discovered flash fiction, because I think I found my comfort space in flash fiction. And the reason for that is I kind of wondered over the years, why flash fiction? Because I did manage to do some fairly good stuff in all the other genres, but why did flash fiction speak to me? And I think it's because I've always felt that literature and life have a sort of a bidirectional relationship of cause and effect. Life impacts literature and literature impacts life. And when you look at the latter part, literature has a duty to evolve and to create and recreate itself in new shapes and forms to reflect the generation that it is serving. We are not, unfortunately, we just have to accept it. In the age of WhatsApp and Instagram, etc., we don't have all that many people who are going to reach for a volume of, I don't know, David Copperfield or something by Thomas Hardy and read it, enjoying every single word. We just have to accept that such people are few and far between, and probably there aren't going to be all the, unless there is some sort of way of reviving an interest in the classics. Yeah, educational systems are trying, but it's not about education system. It's about the fact that people are so distracted by so many things now. So a form like flash fiction it's not just a newfangled thing. It is actually a necessity. Literature needs to come forth in new forms that will suit the speed, the pace, the proclivities of the new generation. I think flash fiction is the best suited literary form for our generation, excluding poetry, of course, because poetry is so fluid. You can have a 2-word poem and a 200-page poem. That's different. But as far as prose forms are concerned, I think flash fiction is brilliant. There is so much that you can say without saying. And yet nobody can say that that's incomplete because, hey, I'm not writing a short story. I'm not writing a novella. I'm writing flash fiction. This is how it's supposed to be. So I think I'm so glad that I live I'm part of a generation that at which point flash fiction was invented. Although they say it is not so new, they say it actually goes all the way back to classic writers who have tried it, but it never became an accepted form as such. Coming to the group, I'm extremely happy that I stumbled on, quite by accident, I stumbled on the group. There were quite a few and all of them. And as somebody else said, the length of the name of the group, I said, my God, if a group has the confidence to give itself such a long name, it has to have something solid about it. There must be some substance. They wouldn't have dared to give a sentence as a name. I've got to see what's happening in this group. And I think that is one of the best things that I did. I've really enjoyed it. One more thing that I'd like to say is I've always been a behind the scenes person. So most of my time, most of the effort that I've done in creative writing has been in founding writing clubs and facilitating and creating time and space for other people to have a safe space to write. I've not done all that much to push myself. I've not done all that much to promote my own writing. So for once, and I've been a part of and I've been organizing these things for at least for a dozen years. And for once, I've got a group where all these lovely people here are doing all the hard work. I didn't have to do anything. So every day, almost every single day of the week, somebody or the other is churning out a new idea. All I have to do is to open my Facebook. That's a challenge. Let's see what we can do. And I love that. I know I'm talking a lot. Just one more minute, Chris. It's a bit like cooking, sometimes when you have a huge party of friends expected in the evening and 2 or 3 people in the family are, really laboring in the kitchen, trying in different spices and combinations and cooking and basting and boiling and all that. By the time all the food is put on the table, those people who have done all the cooking, they sometimes have lost all taste for the food. I don't know if any of you have experienced it. My mom always tells me, look, at this point, all I want to do is to serve all those people, give them a good time, and then go to bed. I don't feel like putting anything in my mouth because she's the one who spent all this. So when I'm with my writing group in Doha or my other writing group, because I'm the one doing all the work, I don't get to enjoy much. Whereas here, somebody, as all of you, great. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to Chris for the people who started it, Leslie, all the people who are involved in it, His Majesty Mike, or whatever it is the title that we always everybody who's involved in pushing this forward. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kieran. I agree with you. Yeah, it's lovely to see how flash fiction has come on. I agree with you totally. I had a little chat with the people that run Tadpole Press the other day, and it's on YouTube now. That's worth a watch because we were talking about that kind of thing with them, and it was really interesting to hear their take on it. Brilliant. Thank you. Josephine, would you like to tell us a bit about you? I've asked you to unmute, so hopefully the buttons come up for you.
There we go. Is it working?
Yes.
Oh, well, you all sound so interesting and I'm rather boring, so just I've always been trying to write and paint and done it intermittently. And it was really only with COVID when that started that I started trying to do something seriously and consistently. And I started trying to write a novel. It didn't work. It was too hard for me. It was too long. And I must agree with Kieran. I really enjoy writing flash fiction now. And I don't think you can do anything nicer than that because it entertains people and often makes them laugh. And I think I really like to make people laugh and make them feel happy. And that's one of the reasons why I enjoy writing. I don't really like writing sad stories and I don't like reading them either. So I'm very into humor and romance. I was very fortunate. I came across Reedsy. I don't know if anybody's heard of Reedsy, but I didn't really know how to write. Not that I know now, but I got nearly all the Reedsy education videos on writing, and they helped me. They were all free during COVID, that particularly, so that I started entering their weekly competitions. You have to write a short story in 1 week, and some of them were really truly dreadful because you don't have very much time in a week to write a story. I don't think it's long enough time. Anyway, I did that, and then I started entering other competitions, and I got Christopher's name from somebody in Cape Town. I can't pronounce his name. It's an Irish name. I think it's spelled Ciaran. Does that sound Irish? But he knew Christopher. He knew of Christopher, so he gave me Christopher's email address, and I've been in touch with Christopher ever since then. I think it was 2020, November 2020. And I just think that everything he does is so kind and friendly and generous, just like the group that I belong to, the authors. I can't say it, it's too long for me. And yes, I've really enjoyed being a part of it. And although I don't participate as much as I would like to, I'm very grateful that I've been connected to all of you wonderful people. That's about it.
Thank you, Josephine. That's lovely. I'm trying to work out how to say the chap's name. Is it C-I? How did you spell it?
I've got it somewhere.
I think it might be Kieran, yeah.
Kieran, I think
the Irish spelling of it.
A lot of people who don't know how to spell my name spell it like that.
That must
Oh.
be it then. I think that's the Irish version of that name. Interesting. See, we're learning new things. Right, Sarah, Sarah's not got her video on, but I'll ask her to unmute and see if she'd like to tell us. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Hi, Sarah.
Yeah. Hi, Chris. How are you? Hi, everybody.
Good. Nice for you to be here.
Yeah. I'm in the car, so I'm not able to switch on my video, but I hope that's fine. Yeah, great. So to tell something about myself, well, where should I start? Whenever someone asks for my introduction, I always say an academician by profession, but a writer by passion, because this is the only line which I can define what I feel for my writing. It's pure passion, nothing else. I just want to write, to express my feelings, to just write. That's all, nothing else. And what I owe to this group, actually pretty much a lot, more than a lot. As you might be aware, some of you might have seen also, I've just published my first book. It's a collection of stories, and at least 3 or 4 stories are the ones which I wrote for this group. This group gave me a platform to actually see my work in writing for the first time. So I really owe a lot to all of you for being a part of this journey, for helping me to write, for reading what I have written actually. And I guess you were my first readers actually, all of you. So that's really great, and hope to continue like this. And lovely meeting all of you. And yeah,
Thank you, Sarah. That's great.
I think that's all. Yeah.
If you send me a link to your book, I'll pop it in my next newsletter if you want. It's out now,
Oh,
is it?
sure. Immediately. I'll do it immediately.
Yeah, just send
Thank you so much.
send me a little spiel about it on email. That'd be great. And I can include it.
Sure. Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Right. So what we'll do now is go around and ask people to read a story, if that's all right. It'll either be a story from one of the books, or a piece of writing. It doesn't have to be a story. It could be poetry, whatever it is, from one of the challenges in the group. What I thought I would do if I start is I published a story today by a Palestinian girl through the Amazing Young Writers Challenge. And rather than reading one of mine, I thought I'd read hers to you because it's lovely. I can't minimize that. So hang on. Can I read this? Yes, that's all right. Can everyone still see me? I can't see you, so I don't know. All right, yes. I think I saw a thumbs up in the little thing. All right, so this is a story called The Place I Knew by Heart, and it's written by Jana Sheikh Khalil. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I have always known Palestine, not through textbooks or headlines or debates between people who only know her through statistics. I know her through my family, through crowded tables and breakfasts scented with olives, through stories passed around rooms long before I was old enough to understand every word. I loved Palestine before I learned words like occupation, destruction, and borders. Before I knew what they could take, I knew what they could never. I carried Palestine in what I wore, in the jewelry around my neck, in the conversations I refused to avoid. She lived in the way I spoke, the food I ate, the pride I carried. Like a white bird, always returning home, no matter how far it travelled. People told me I talked about it too much, as if love should be quiet, as if caring has a limit, as if I should shrink pieces of myself to make others comfortable. But if I could speak to the younger version of me, I would tell her, you are more than they say you are, and never, never stop caring. Do not let anyone convince you that your love is excessive, because one day you will learn more. You will learn names. You will learn history. You will learn what has been lost. And it will not weaken your love. It will explain it. I care because Palestine is mine and I am hers, because family should not be forgotten, because stories should not be silenced, because some people know a country through maps. I knew mine through love. I think that's beautiful. Well done, Jana.
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
All right, Leslie, would you like to read yours next, please?
Obviously, I've chosen one from the Nonsense Challenge, and it's the one that I wrote for Nonsense, the third book of the Nonsense Challenge. And it's a humorous story about a priest that wanted to find his place in heaven. It's called Hell's Cobblers Stick on Souls. Why am I down here? I was a priest, for God's sake. Mistakes happen, Father. I want to go up there. It's your mistake. Do something, you flaming hornhead. To go up, you must replace your lost soul. Try Hell's Cobblers over there. Hi, Cobbler. I need a replacement soul. No problem, Father. I can stick one on you. However, in payment, you have to nominate someone without a soul to die. Why? I need the business. No one wants to be down here. Okay, hallelujah. He's a horrible bishop. A bishop? Fantastic. Come back in 1 hour. An hour later, I found myself rising heavenward, my soul floating behind me like gossamer wings. May I come in? There were too many pearls on the gates for my taste. No, Father, you've caused Bishop Hallelujah to die. It's the only crime I've ever committed. One is enough. But I don't want to go back down there. You can't. If you choose to leave hell, they don't let you back in. You're stuck with the multitude in dead man's no man's land. Hey, that's my soul. Not anymore. I sold him back to Hell's Cobblers.
Thank you, Leslie. Proper nonsense. That's what we like.
Yes, yeah.
Andrew, would you like to read something next?
I'm trying. There we go. Had a bit of trouble unmuting. After those two stories, I am embarrassed to read anything because those were both extraordinary, quite brilliant. However, since I'm on the spot, I will read something I wrote for Topically Challenged. It was inspired by a CNN story about a university in Germany offering scholarships for students to do absolutely nothing. And that sort of caught my attention and prompted this. No, I don't have anything original to say. Whatever made you think that? Like many would-be authors, I was struggling to find my voice until the glorious day dawned when I realized I didn't have one. In that liberating moment, I invented a whole new genre, literary minimalism. After all, if John Cage can compose 4 minutes and 33 seconds of silence, the original score to which has been lost, of course, and Robert Ryman's white-on-white painting can fetch $15 million at auction, surely there must be a place for minimalism in literature. You won't have read it, but Stories I Never Wrote was one of my early works. It wasn't published in an anthology of the same name, and overnight brought me almost no recognition in literary circles. I went from being just another aspiring author to a superstar nonentity. I followed that one with my autobiography, which I called I Didn't Write This One Either, and a slim volume entitled The Wit and Wisdom of Donald J. Trump. 48 octavo pages, each one completely blank. Unfortunately, that one got censored. It's not easy being a writer. Thank you.
I wonder if anyone has actually published just a blank book, because if not, I think you should, Andrew, and use that title as well.
That one? Okay.
Kelly, would you like to read something?
Yes, thank you. Can I say a few words though about the spectrum, what it means? I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher all my life, not as a profession, but just as it's my whole nature. It just comes out of me. I teach people. And what I want to teach is that just because the brain is wired differently doesn't mean that the brain is deformed. And I'll tell you this right now, it does not mean that it's not a disability. And then you might think as a neurotypical, you think, well, but look, Kelly, look at all the people on the spectrum who are low in cognition. Well, people, look at all the neurotypicals that are born with neurological disorders, low in cognition, have some kind of developmental disability. So then by rights, and to be fair, I should walk away thinking neurotypicals are deformed up here in the head. Something's wrong with you people. But I don't. So don't do it with us. There we go. Yeah. It takes logic, people. Logic. Okay. Anyway, this is my story. This is a story that I had submitted to Hull and back, but Christopher unabashedly bashed it. Yeah, you bashed it, baby. You bashed it. So this is my story. It's called Swedish Meatballs. Okay, let me enlarge it because I got bad eyesight. Okay. Okay. After spending weeks writing another one of your masterpieces, having it critiqued, edited to death, and rereading it to yourself and out loud countless times, a feeling of satisfaction washes over you like holy water. You are glowing with pride and accomplishment. After a few more weeks of deliberation, you decide that your creation is ready to see the light of day. With trembling forefinger, you hover the cursor over the submit button and shakily left-click your golden treasure into cyberspace, but not before much fanfare that exists only in your head. After only a couple of weeks, you get a coveted email. Dear Hopeful, thank you for your recent submission. Honestly, we are gobsmacked by your genius. As soon as we read your piece, we contacted the Swedish Academy in Stockholm, Sweden, where we immediately presented your piece for approval as a candidate for the Nobel Prize in Literature. They told us they had no category for flash fiction. All we said in response was, just read it. With much skepticism, they did so. We're delighted to inform you that at this very moment, they are conferencing with the heads of the committee regarding making an exception for your much prized piece. In the meantime, here is the link that will take you directly to your Paragon. We thank you again for choosing Flash Fabulist. With much anticipation, you click the link. Once at the site, you see your brainchild surrounded by a golden halo. You read it once again, but this time your eyes lovingly linger over every word until you notice a typo shamelessly staring you right in the face. How could I have missed that? You shriek. Everything comes crashing down around you once you realize everyone will see it. How can you call yourself a writer? You'll be the laughingstock of the entire literary community, literally. Only a week later, after its publication, you are told by the editors of Flash Fabulous that you were ultimately turned down for the distinguished prize. But as consolation, the Academy will be sending you a crate of Swedish meatballs. When the crate arrives, you unceremoniously feed its contents to your cat. Yeah.
Thank you, Kelly. Lovely.
You're welcome.
Bit of satire there. Liz, would you like to read something?
What did you say?
I said satire.
What?
Satire.
Oh, I think it's a saddle out, and I'm thinking, what's that mean?
No, I'm saying nice satire. Liz, would you like to read something?
Yeah, I'm going to read you the first one that I submitted to you from the verbally challenged thing, which is called While the Parents Are Out. Ponderously, heavily, he pointed a finger towards the door. The thread was wrapped carefully, tidily round the handle. All waited anxiously, excitedly, impatiently. Would he do it? A breath in, held anticipatorily, wonderingly for the exact moment. A nod peremptorily given, and the door slammed loudly shut. We cheered enthusiastically. It's out, we shouted elatedly. He put his hand quaveringly up to his cheek. Gingerly his tongue probed the hole lately occupied by a tooth, forcibly, achingly, bloodily removed. Groggily he tried to speak, but nothing emerged, haltingly or speedily. Triumphantly, ecstatically, he picked up the tooth from the carpet.
How many adverbs were in there, Liz? A lot.
Yes, I mean, that was your fault because it said pack them in, so I did.
And you did, yes. Excellent. Thank you very much. Christine, would you like to read something?
Okay, I think I'm unmuted now.
Yeah.
This is a Glow Curl Friday frolic from way, way, way back. It's called Trivial Pursuit. Through the slosh of water and clatter of crockery, she said, "Did you know it's almost a century since washing up liquid was thought of? The first in Europe was called teapot." He gave a nod. As she prepared lunch, a tasty roast, she called from the kitchen, "Did you know the first electric oven was invented by a Canadian?" Savouring delicious salmon sandwiches, he raised his floral teacup in acknowledgement to, "Did you know an English duchess named Anna got hungry between lunch and dinner? Hence afternoon tea came to be." Dinner was on the table at 8 sharp. His wife was an excellent cook, and the lightly poached haddock and sautéed vegetables did not disappoint. Now here's an interesting fact. Did you know the sauté cooking method originated in China with their stir frying? He savoured the melt-in-the-mouth haddock and smiled. Click, clack went the needles. Without looking up, she imparted her most recently acquired information. Did you know the first knitting needles were found in an ancient tomb in Turkey? She'd caught him at a bad moment. And did you know they expect a modern day find sometime soon locally? That's nice, dear. He rolled his eyes and returned to his own evening pursuit of television trivia.
Thank you, Chris. And that was written for one of the things in the challenge in the group, yeah? One of Globe's.
Yes, back in 2023.
Ooh, 3 years old.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Kieran, would you like to read something?
Yes. It's a poem, and I think I submitted it in this year, like I think March or April. I think the prompt was peculiarity, and this is what I wrote. It's a yeah. Sorry. I've always been a fan of what they call peculiarity, a feature in a person that reveals their singularity, a twisted speech that to the speaker is absolute clarity, a chair that works despite its rather odd angularity, a woman with a downy lip, a man with that unmanly gait, the guy who simply has to overpraise his mom at every date, professor who does live nearby but cannot help arriving late, the sudden twitch, the smile at none, the fingers on a shiny pate. Peculiar, peculiar. Who decides what's peculiar? Perhaps what's normal in our time was not so normal earlier. The comfort of our normalcy makes some of us feel holier. We look for people who don't fit and make them feel so lowlier. Inside the cloak we hide behind to make ourselves acceptable, our secret selves, like naughty elves, are not all that respectable. We desperately hide our faults till they are imperceptible, to lose place in the social race, an idea not plausible. Am I ashamed of being odd? Oh no, there's not a chance in hell. And I would tell the normal ones, pray on this newer notion dwell. What you would call peculiar, I might see as original. Just learn to love diversity and you will see that all is well. Thank you for listening.
Brilliant. Thank you, Kieran. Lovely. Josephine, would you like to read something? I've asked you to, you have to unmute, Josephine. I've asked you.
Okay.
Okay, lovely.
Was the flash fiction, I've left out the first sentence. People stood in their raincoats, holding umbrellas. Some had hoods on their heads. Where are you all going? I asked the man in the yellow Macintosh. We're not going, he answered. We're coming back. That's it.
Now that is microfiction. There are more and more of those kind of competitions creeping up, opening up. So it's definitely something to get into. And I'm just beginning to get really into it with the kind of 6-word competitions and the 10-word and the 25. But there is one by Doug Weller at the moment, the 6-word one, 6-word wonders, that's open at the moment. So if you like writing things that short, that is worth a look. I think it closes in September. Sarah, would you like to read something? Hang on, asked to unmute.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is also a piece which I just wrote for the group, I think, but I didn't post it. I posted something else. So I'll just read it out for you. She never called it wandering. Every Saturday morning, she slipped into the city before it was fully awake, carrying nothing but a notebook and an unhurried heart. The baker arranging fresh loaves, the florist rinsing buckets of roses, the old man feeding sparrows beside a fountain. Each scene arrived like a page from a book she had no intention of finishing. There was no destination, only discovery. She followed sunlit laneways draped in ivy, paused before rain-speckled shop windows, and collected fragments of life the way others collected souvenirs. A child's laughter, a forgotten letter, somewhere a violin stitched music into the morning air. It was a not to arrive, but to notice, just to notice life. So I didn't finish it. I didn't post it, but then something else came out and I just posted that. So yeah.
Lovely.
Chris, can we ask Sarah to repeat the last part, because
Yeah, last
I
couple of
lost
sentences.
the audio.
Yeah, the audio went just at the end there, Sarah. So could you read the last little section for us, please?
The line
Yes,
about the
yes,
violin and the music?
Yeah, just a second.
Yeah, from there.
Yeah. She followed sunlit laneways draped in ivy, paused before rain-speckled shop windows, and collected fragments of life the way others collected souvenirs. A child's laughter, a forgotten letter, somewhere a violin stitched music into the morning air. It was a quiet practice of flânerie, the art of strolling, not to arrive, but just to notice life. I hope it was more audible this time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
came
thank you
through
for
really
listening.
well.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Sarah. That was lovely. Very easy to visualize. Right, I'm aware that we're running a bit late on time, so I'm going to skip the bit about ideas for the group. If you've got any ideas for the group, just email me afterwards. I think that's probably the best bet. Michael's already done all the planning for July, so that's all sorted. August, we always take a break, so we'll have a month off and then come back in September and ramp up towards Christmas like we always do. So if you've got any ideas for kind of September onwards, just drop me and Leslie a line. That would be lovely. If everyone isn't too tired, we'll quickly go around and do one more piece each. Is that okay with everyone? We'll make it speedy. I'll do one quickly. I'll do an adverb piece for you. So this is the one that's going in the latest book once it's full up. It's called The Disturbingly Deviously Dreadful, Decidedly Dastardly Dragon. And it's really hard to read, as I'm sure you can attest to, Liz, because it's got way too many adverbs in it. So I'm sorry if I trip up. The disturbingly deviously dreadful, decidedly dastardly dragon was perched upon a mountain ledge, silently surveying the lands below, stomach gurgling hungrily when lunch unwittingly loped courageously into view. A knight approached, gallantly clad in ridiculously shiny armour. "Tell me thy name before I smite thee, lizard," he said cruelly. "Deirdre," she replied calmly. "The Dastardly." "What a stupendously stupid name for such a disgustingly vile dragon," the knight said spitefully. He roared laughter heartily, dropping his sword accidentally due to guffawing maniacally. Deirdre spewed fire ferociously, immediately barbecuing the knight perfectly. She seized him lightly. Chomp, gulp, burp. "I do beg your pardon," she said to herself demurely. A bit of silliness there. Right, Leslie, have you got something else you'd like to read?
Yes, this is quite a short one. It was from a Monday Word, which was mythomania. And mythomania is a compulsive tendency to lie. And the piece is called Mythomania. Another potential date took his place opposite Isabel. "Persuade me why I should go on a date with you," she said. Placing her elbows on the table, she rested her pretty head on her hands, stared at the guy and waited. "Well, I live in a huge manor house, own several expensive cars and run a successful business. I'm handsome, single and good between the sheets." He winked at her. Isabel stared at the handsome, gum-chewing contender. Unsightly stubble, filthy hair, black fingernails, a cheap earring in his left ear, and a T-shirt with the motif "I love sex" contradicted every word he'd said. Sorry, I don't date mythomaniacs. She stood up. I have to go. I'm flying to Geneva to a shareholders' meeting in my private jet. My pilot will be waiting for me, she lied. Hey, wait, what's a mythomaniac?
What is a mythomaniac? Thank you, Leslie. Andrew, have you got something else you'd like to read?
As it happens, yes, I do, Chris.
Splendid.
This was written for the group back in 2021. It sank without trace, so I'm resurrecting it. It's called Can't Buy Me Love. Despair held me by the throat. I'd long since given up trying to find a reason to go on living because the echoing silence where once there had been an answer dragged me down to depths I didn't want to know existed. But suddenly I had a purpose. I'd perform one last good deed and then put an end to this misery. I dropped my wallet, cash, credit cards, driver's license into the beggar's bowl as I passed. Here, mister, he said, you've dropped your wallet. It's for you, I replied. I won't be needing it where I'm going. Suicidal, eh? He asked. Go for it. Me, I don't have the guts. What? I said, shocked. Aren't you going to try and talk me out of it? Recommend the Samaritans or the Citizens Advice Bureau? Nah, he said, I won't waste your time. Tar for the wallet. But, I stammered, it's your duty as a fellow human being to care about my suffering. Well, I don't, he said, so get over it. Or not, I don't care. Top yourself. But not right here, if you don't mind. Corpses are bad for business. Of all the ungrateful, words failed me. If that's the way you feel about it, I'll have my wallet back. I wrenched it from his grubby grasp and went on my way, feeling better than I had in months.
Thank you, Andrew. Lovely. Happy to be resurrected. Kelly, have you got another piece you'd like to read?
Okay, I don't know, for some reason I pulled it up. Let me pull it up again. I had it up. I don't know what happened. Okay. Let's see. It's called The Object. And I didn't mean for it to turn out like it was. It's more like a psychological piece. I didn't mean for it to be, but I guess that's just the way it turned out. Okay. Pamela placed it lovingly on the table, the object her husband had given her for safekeeping. It lay there as if waiting for something to happen. She purposely and patiently kept the object waiting. Actually, when you think about it, the object wasn't really waiting because it was inanimate, wasn't it? It didn't truly care how long it lay there. It could be there all day and you wouldn't hear a peep out of it. You wouldn't hear, how long will I be lying here? Does anyone notice me? No, the object wasn't going to make a sound. It was an inanimate object after all, right? Pamela continued sitting there, keeping an eye on it, half expecting it to do something. She had better things to do than to burn a hole through it with her eyes. So she decided to turn the TV on to get her mind off the object. Having the TV noise in the background helped to a degree, but the object remained center stage in her mind, preventing her from being completely immersed in what was happening on the TV screen. This is ridiculous, she blurted out. as she turned off the TV with a dramatic flourish. Desperately, she picked up a magazine that was sitting quietly beside her on the sofa and opened it, hoping that the words in the front of her eyes with the colorful illustrations would be enough to get her mind off get the object off her mind. After 20 minutes of this exercise in futility, she conceded that this wasn't working either. Slapping the magazine shut and slamming it back in its original resting place, she glared over ever so hatefully at the object. "Why are you insisting on doing this to me?" She spat out words like venom. "What have I done to you?" she continued. Of course, the object still lay there, as motionless as always. It didn't seem to have any thoughts one way or the other. That's what really bothered her. She wanted something to care. The only respite was the cold breeze that, coming in from the open window, she closed her eyes momentarily with her face toward the open window, feeling the cool breeze gently blowing on her hot face. She wasn't sure if the heat she felt was from the weather or the buildup from the anxiety due to the object. She stopped. She supposed it didn't matter. Either way, the cool breeze was a welcoming distraction. Slowly, she opened her eyes, very warily and suspiciously glancing over at the object. Slowly, her eyes widened in surprise. Was she imagining this, or did the object move ever so slightly? Surely the breeze wasn't strong enough to have done that, right? She kept a vigilant eye on the object and began to believe that it was mocking her. How rude, highly rude and unacceptable. At this point, she was nearly afraid to look away for fear the object would resume taunting her. So she continued with the staring contest, not really caring that she was the only participant. Soon she felt a tugging in her bladder and knew that she had to get up and eventually to take care of business. Could she trust leaving the object alone? Who knew what it would do while she was gone? Soon it didn't matter because her bladder was calling out more strongly. She sighed as she reluctantly got up. I'm sorry, everybody, but not without one last warning glance at the object. She hoped that look was enough to keep the object in check. Again, the object seemed to openly sneer at her. Tearing her eyes from the object, she went into the bathroom and sharply closed the door. Just then, a rush of air came from the window, blowing the curtains and causing them to dance before finally settling back down. After 15 minutes, Pamela opened the door to the bathroom and walked to the sofa and sat down. She dared not look in the direction of the object. After a few minutes that seemed to last forever, she finally found the courage to look in the direction of the object. That was when she discovered that the object was no longer there. Her face grew sickly pale, her eyes full of fear. Dread filled every fiber of her body as she drew her legs onto the sofa with her feet curled tightly beneath her. She protectively covered herself with the blanket that was lying next to her on the sofa. Her heart wouldn't stop racing. Suddenly, she jumped as she hears the key turning in the lock. The door swings open, then the shuffling of footsteps in the front entrance. "Ted, is that you?" she yelled. "Who else would it be?" he asked, bewildered as she tossed the keys on the entryway table by the door. It's just been an unsettling day. That's all. How'd your shift go tonight?" "Oh, the usual, nothing new. What's up with you? You seem a bit unraveled tonight." "I don't want to get into it right now." He reached for her and gave her a peck on the lips. "Hey, where's the pamphlet I gave you earlier today?" "I have no idea. I was sitting on the table by the sofa but when I came back from the bathroom, it was gone. Noticing the window open, he said, "The breeze probably blew it on the floor, probably under the sofa." He jumps off the sofa, takes a peek under it, retrieves the object, jots down some important information from it, and before unceremoniously throwing it into the garbage. Pamela closed her eyes, threw her head back, and let out what sounded like something between a nervous laugh and a sigh of relief. Ted grabbed the remote, joined her on the sofa, and turned on the TV to their favorite game show. Pamela snuggled herself close to Ted, where she does her best to drown out the insanity that had gone on before he came back. That's it. Sorry for the mess up on the words.
That's really good, Kelly. Really good.
Yeah, I just wanted to do something, here she is going off the rails on this, her mind's going off, right, on this object. And it was simply her husband giving her a pamphlet had maybe important numbers on it. And that's all it was.
Yeah,
I'm sure
it worked. It really worked. Could kind of sense
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you very much. Liz, would you like to read another piece?
Yeah, it's from last year's, actually last July, for parapraxis. I didn't know what it was until I had to write it. I mean, I knew what it was, but I didn't know the word for it, if you know what I mean. So daisy roots. Daisy had slipped up and, I can't even say it, parapraxically called Ben Bill when she whispered in his shell like to rake me over, Bill. Ben had pushed her away as her flush tinged the edges of her white blonde hair rosy. Weed, Ben hissed. Find some other potting shed. I'm not your man anymore. He jiggled his spade at her. Turfed out, Daisy had gone to find Bill in the compost. Bill, oh Bill, Ben knows. It came out when I asked him, you, to share my bed. What shall I do? Bill shook his head at her. Not a lot, little weed. You're on your own now. Weed? Weed? Cried Daisy. Plop a lop, Bill. That's not what you called me when you were firming around me. Ah, Daisy, that's your roots showing. Always coarse. Try not to be jealous. Ben will always be my brother, but you, well, you're no Rose, are you? He clapped his hand over his mouth. Oops, shouldn't have said that. Rose? Now I'm getting the picture. Since when have you been getting netting with Rose? Not me, Daisy, Ben. He'd forgotten he was supposed to go on an aphid hunt with her some time back. When he did finally remember, she'd moved on. He is a commitment phobe. You were only ever a filler until their love bloomed again. Said Daisy. So my parapraxis allowed him to reinstate his true love after his parapraxis. Bill nodded. Oof, you flower pot men.
Excellent final line. Christine, would you like to read another piece?
This is a very short one. This is also a Monday word that was a long time ago. And the word is that, I can't even say it either, vaticinate. The crystal ball hallucinated myriad hues. Gypsy J stared into the depths as the shades intermingled until one colour dominated. Never did she shrink from fortunes revealed, but in that instant she vaticinated such awfulness she would guard the secret until the end. It would not be for long.
Oh, I'm already unmuted. Thank you, Christine. That was lovely. Nice to hear some of these Monday words coming round. Kieran, would you like to read another piece?
Yes. This is from last year. And I think it was when we had all those pet peeves, things that we complain about. So yeah, so somebody had suggested gymnasiums. And so this is what I wrote, my beef with gyms. Minding no one's business but mine, I walked along the neighborhood. It was a day of warmth and shine. I had no reason to not feel good. My job was great, my kids in school. I loved my wife and she loved me. A cheerful chappy as a rule, until that day I chanced to see the brand new gym that had appeared right next to my favorite cafe. But sweets and carbs these gym types feared. Why then this very location pray? I do like the idea of gyms. They're not for me, but that's okay. But like church and God and Sunday hymns, some folks believe, some stay away. The trouble really begins when a devout soul or a fitness freak, unmindful of what, where, and when, begins to pressurize, to speak, in terms of praise and persuasion, how good their chosen pathways are. No matter what the occasion, they start and often go too far. Religion is a personal thing, and so are our physical states. We're not all keen to preach and sing, or do push-ups or carry weights. And if that means I'll die tomorrow, that is a risk I'm glad to take, rather than plunge my life in sorrow for every slice of my tea cake. What of the many women, men, who after years of working out, one day just fall down dead and then some doctor says the heart gave out? I do not believe for a sec that doing push-ups, weights or more can keep you from a tragic wreck if that's what destiny has in store. My beef with gyms, to summarize, is not in what they aim to do. That's fine, and big muscles are nice. If you like them, then good for you. My problem is gyms operate by making normal folk feel bad. They send signals, manipulate with muscled models minimally clad. They force your mind to hate your gut when you quite liked yourself before and would have continued to, but you saw the gymnasium next door. Its walls so full of posters bright, Greek gods turn green on sighting these. At once you feel your board's not right. You need to join, never mind the fees. So gyms to me are not just places where people to their bodies tend. They trick poor Mark or Anne who raises to seek a needless fad and trend.
Very nicely put. Cake, gym, cake. Thank you, Karen. Josephine, would you like to share another piece? I've clicked the ask to unmute button.
Okay.
Got it.
Now, I haven't got anything ready. I did do something from Wee McGregor on your group, but it's in a very Scottish accent, so I didn't think I could do it.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Sarah, have you got something you'd like to read? Ask you to unmute. Are you there, Sarah?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah. So I'll just read a piece which I wrote for the group itself. I think this was last month or so, where we had to write a piece using 8 words which had 8 alphabets in each, if someone remembers it. So this is what I had written. The poem was titled Scrabble. What can I say about my favorite Scrabble? It just looks like my everyday in Scramble. A cute mix of calm and chaos, smiles and shines, more in between. Some tiles sparkled, some seem tough, others make my words feel seen. I spell out sunshine and joy and happiness in all my little moments. Although life does shuffle plans around, more magic words find me like little scents. Whenever life feels a little crossed, like precious tiles you thought were lost, just pause, reshuffle, breathe, begin. The best words often come from within. Yeah, so that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. That was a lovely way to end the evening. Right,
you so much.
we've gone on a bit longer than I said we were going to, so we'll bring it to a halt there. Thank you all so much for your time, sharing your thoughts and the amazing readings. I don't know about the rest of you, but I really enjoyed that. I thought it was wonderful. Leslie, maybe we can do another one at some point, not too soon, but in the future. Thank you all so much.
Maybe we can.
Yeah.
Can I just say that I feel so emotional that the group and the challenges mean so much to all of you, and it helps you, Kelly, and you're all getting something so like nice out of it. I feel so full of emotion. I shall go to bed a happy lady tonight. And just the last thing I wanted to mention, Liz, I don't know how many people picked up Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Men from Watch with Mother. Chris, I bet it's beyond you. I bet you don't know what that is, do you? Because you're too young.
No, I remember Bill and Ben.
Oh, right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of the group won't know what that was, but I picked it up. It was great.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh,
All right.
yeah. So the other thing as well, when you read something on the screen, when people post on the group, you read it, it's nice, etc., etc. But when it's read out, it brings it so much more to life. It's fantastic.
Yeah, hearing the author's voice behind it really, really brings it alive. That's what's so nice about story readings.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, we'll definitely do one again in the future. I'm just not too sure when yet.
Well,
maybe towards the end of the year or something like that.
Yeah, at least every birthday.
Yes, we'll aim for that, and if we get more in between, then
yeah, sure.
then great. All right, lovely. Well, thank you, everyone. That was lovely.
Yeah, goodbye.
I
Ollie.
will end the meeting now. So bye-bye. Thank you all so much.
Bye.
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 Thank you so much, and good night, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you.
Sarah.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Take care.
Bye all.
Bye.